It froze. Alright, we're back in business. I'm gonna make sure it loads up before I try anything. I'm actually hoping it doesn't screw me with the recording. It did not. Okay, good. Hello everybody, my name is Hicks, and I like to kill zombies! And I'm back again with a different kind of video today. I'm actually going to do a top 10. Why a top 10? Well, because this music is way too loud for me to do anything else. So I was asking about, with a couple of my friends, if I had to do anything strenuous with top 10s, and it's like, only if it's official. If it's opinion-based, then you just say the top 10 things of your opinion. So I think I wanted to do that. And I wanted to do that all because of what recently added with this update, Z Landing and all whatnot, where they had the mace introduced for the Berserker, the Gore Fiend enemy now here, and then the new map Z Landing. Check me dance. But the reason why I wanted to do a top 10 is because there are a bunch of things that I feel like I need to address. Now, these are solely opinion based, so if you go out and start spraying, well, this is official, it's not, okay? It's just not. So, as that goes down, I'll have to take care of all this stuff. So anyway, I have to, well, since I just feel like talking about this, number 10. No surprising in number 10, for me it's actually the rage modes for both the Flesh Pounder and the Scrape. And the reason why I not only grouped these two together, but put them at such as low of a spot as number 10, it's solely for the reason that with a Flesh Pound, you actually have to, or it only gets upset in intervals. And the only way they really get upset with you is if you manage to shoot them first, or you end up just pissing them off in general. While a Scrake is about half dead whenever he actually gets annoyed enough to start running after you. Slow motion decap. So yeah, that's really why I put those so low. It's because it's not that big of an issue, especially if you know their weaknesses. And for those who don't know, yes, you use explosives to kill Flesh Pounders faster, and you use fire to kill Scrakes faster. So if you're using weapons they're weak against, that adds to the fact that they're not going to be raging all that much at you, considering you're going to be killing them relatively quickly. I think that's all I have to say about that. So here we go. We're just going to stop off at number 9. Making a top 10 was difficult, considering there are so many things that I really had to complain about with what they added. This music is very distracting. And the music is not here. Why is it not here? Yes. This can be a problem. I don't know why sound would be there. It's not. Oh, in-game music volume. Alright.
It's a bit bloody parky.
So going to number 9 is actually what is referred to as grappling. Whenever a Z would grapple you, these are seen most by the most basic enemies of... Well, they're only seen by the most basic enemies of Killing Floor. The Clots, Alpha Clots, and whatever they name the one above them.
That was the last one. Get to the indicated pod for resupply.
The reason why this is so low on the list, being in the number 9's place, is because if you main Berserker, this will never happen to you. Because Klotz will not grab you while you play Berserker.
You earned the money. Now spend it.
Which is nice. I can only imagine you going mid-swing with a pulverizer using the explosive,
There's Zeds on the
or
scope.
using the alt
Must close the
fire,
pod
which
very
will
soon.
explode. And then a clot grabs you and spins your attention all the way on it, and you waste a grenade on that clot rather than a flesh pound. I can see why that'd be useful for the Berserker not to be able to get grabbed. But that's one of the reasons why it's so low on the list, is because
I'm about to
clots
shut
will
the
not
pod.
grab you as Berserkers. And they're really easy to counter because all you have to do is press your little melee button. For me, it's binded to the V key. So I can just
More
bash
Zeds on
them
the
back
scope.
to
Back to it, mes amis.
get them off of me. That kind of deal. Then... And they're not that big of an issue because generally if you are anything but a Berserker, you're already shooting at them. So if one grabs you, it just put itself in the line of fire. And, yeah, it is low on the list, but it is above the rage modes from the other two big guys in the game that you have to worry about.
But many Zeds remain.
That's all I have to say about that. Let's go to number 8. Now, number 8 on this list is a bit of an iffy because it doesn't really scale that much higher from the grapples. And that is, as you can see, Bloater Bile. And this also is the nerve gas from Hans.
Done 'em real good here.
I just made a cosmonaut. Oh, he came back down. I don't know if y'all saw that, but he did indeed come back down. I got all off track. But yes, the bloat bile, along with the gas grenades that Hans used and the super crawlers gas. The elite crawlers, I think they're called. When you destroy them, they just explode in a gas cloud. I find that annoying because there's no real way to avoid it other than to just... I don't even know what happened there. There's no real way to avoid it, and the only way it does damage to you is if you lack armor. So they're practically harmless if you have armor on.
Perfect. Pod is open again.
And with that said and done, that's really the only drawbacks I have to it. So it's not that big of an issue on things that I dislike.
Medical attention.
It's just a minor hindrance.
Glad you made it back. Don't bleed on anything.
And that pretty much does it for that subject. Sorry if I'm like being too short with these. I'm just giving a brief explanation of why. So without waiting any further, let's go to number 7. Number 7 is up there, but I guess
Enemies on the
it's
scope.
just I hate husks. I really don't like husks. From the difficulty of Suicidal and Hell on Earth, not only do husks become extremely accurate, like I've actually had a harder time dodging them. I don't know if that's just because I'm dealing
Last
with
chance.
other things,
I have to power down the pod.
but I've also found it difficult to dodge them, and on the offhand, they also have that flame attack. Other than the fireball they shoot, they
Time's
can...
over. Get back to
They
work.
just switch to
All sets
flamethrower
inbound.
mode and just chew through your health and armor like it's not even there. What makes this matter even worse is whenever they spawn about 5 of them in one spot on higher difficulties. So now you have not but 5 husks shooting at you with the fireballs, but now they have 5 husks torching you. You don't last but a couple of seconds if they all get the idea to flamethrower all over you. Like
Let's call that
straight
your
up
warm-up.
all over you. That's it for that one. Let's pop on over to number 6. Number 6,
It's got some kind of cloaking.
the hitboxes on both crawlers and on stalkers. They have such weird hitboxes that make them to hit with any gun. That's like the biggest ordeal. Now, the reason why I say the hitbox is because the crawler is completely out of your average Joe's line of fire, or sight line. They're aiming for the torso. People like me are always aiming for the torso or the head. We've got it wired where the enemy's torso or head is, which makes it a lot easier getting kills, especially getting headshots. But then you have the crawler that forces you to look down in order to just hit them. And whenever they start attacking you, their body moves in such a way half the time that it's hard to pin down where their hitbox actually is. At least for me, anyway.
We're almost out of time. Make your choices.
It becomes a bit annoying whenever you've got a bunch, of crawlers coming towards you in the mix of a bunch of other zombies that are considered higher priorities, much like gore fiends and, well, gorefests and gore fiends.
Time's almost up.
Not to mention, crawlers themselves are just a nuisance. Going back-wise, stalkers is lumped into this is because when they attack you, or when they're just moving around, not only are they extremely dodgy,
Back to it, mes
but
amis.
if you just so much as shoot close to them, they jump, change direction, and the fact that they're invisible makes this all the more worse.
Watch it!
Which can easily be remedied with a commando class in the area, which will counter their cloaking system for everyone. But if you're not a commando, it makes them very hard to nail down whenever actually fighting them. As you can hear, or as you can tell, some are coming up right now. And how they move their body, it kind of makes them weird, because sometimes they'll like spin on one leg and then lay sideways to where the hitbox just lays sideways and doesn't really isn't as vertically as any of these other guys. Oh wow, you have an amazing face. Anyway, which I've just found their hitboxes weird, and it's a bit of a nuisance, so that was number 6. Going on to number 5. The variety of weapons in this game. I'm going straight to the top with this one, and it upsets me. I know how difficult it is to add certain games and add new mechanics for these said games, because, or for these said weapons, because all you're really doing at one point is just adding the same gun in with a different view model, with a different animation, with a different skin. That does make it a bit of an issue, but for other things, it's kind of a bummer whenever you've only.
That's nearly all of them.
It's kind of a bummer whenever there's so many weapons out there that you can model guns after. And they're not all necessarily the same, but at the same time, it would be nice to see more of a variety for classes that only have 4 guns, such as the Firebug and the Medic. I mean, the Medic has a completely made-up arsenal of weapons that use caseless ammunition and that are just real weird to look at. Both design-wise and just straight-up functionality. But they got their own unique style to them. I wish they would add more weapons that had that same unique style, but more of a variety for classes such as the Firebug and the Medic, who are so limited with the 4 guns they have. They basically follow a certain meta without any second thought. Now, I know they made some weapons multi-perk, like now you can use every shotgun in the game with the support, you can use every assault rifle in the game with the commando, and yeah, that's fine, but that's not necessarily fixing the problem that I've seen with a lack of variety. I would just like to see more added to the game, and I know how difficult it is because it's not easy getting that nice feel of variety without making it feel like you're going through the grind of adding a new gun that's just gonna function like every other but then look different. I'm enjoying beating that thing. So that was number 5. That's all I really have to say about it, which can only be remedied by the devs and the lovely community that play this game and just want more things to kill zombies
Let's
with.
call that your warm-up.
Number 4, Hans, everything about it. With the addition of the Patriarch, I've seen an increase of why everyone hates Hans. For the fact that his aggression level is overly annoying, considering he will go into what I call Slap Happy Hans mode and just kill your entire team within a handful of seconds, considering his melee does a ridiculous amount of damage in a single hit on top of being able to A, outrun you, B, your parries for people like Berserker do less against blocking, and C, he's almost guaranteed to get the heal every time. Now, I know you can stop him from healing, which is completely possible, but for one person, shooting him with half your mag and then having to get caught in that reload while he's on the rampage coming towards you is, it's just a bad time. On top of the fact that his ranged attacks don't do much. It's just his melee that's the real big issue. I can't stress that enough, how much I hate a Slap Happy Hans and how overpowered it is, but he is a boss, so he is supposed to be strong. And I'm not cracking down on the fact that he's annoying because he's a boss. I hate the idea that a guy could be able to go through your entire team, a team of 6 without mods, within only a fraction of a second. I mean, hell, I've got a video up now where it just shows Hans look at me. Like, he wasn't doing anything. I was just at a slight decline from him. And then he just looks at me and my guy drops dead because apparently he hit me for an obnoxious amount of damage. Which is a bit annoying. But again, this is, for the longest time, bit of an early access game. It just went to PlayStation 4, so I can understand some bugs. But I do ask that we get some rebalance on Hans. His damage to health ratio, mainly. For the fact that he has so much health and he can get just about all of it back within a couple of seconds, on top of being shielded during that time. To where you had to destroy a shield just to stop him from healing, and even by that point, with combined fire at a higher difficulty, he's going to get that healing if he's already latched on to someone.
Smack him down.
So, I think that's all I have to say about Hans. Number 3 actually went into a, Number 3 actually went to another place called what I've called Gore Packs. Whenever you have Gore Fests and now Gore Fiends, all spawning within... I just crouched on accident. When you have Gore Fests and Gore Fiends all spawning in such a rapid succession that they're grouped up in the squads of 5 to 10 at once, and then they all gang up on you. Now that's just bad, or that's just rotten luck getting caught and surrounded by them. But the fact that they're a baseline unit for the Zeds, they're that much stronger than the cannon fodder, and they do a ridiculous amount of damage in such a short time. Having 8 of them around you at any given point is always a bad day. Unless you're a Berserker and you can just bat them out of your way and keep on moving. Being surrounded is always annoying, but I feel with these guys, it's the worst. That was number 3, so we're going to move on to number 2. Number 2 was difficult, but I feel like it's the Patriarch's rocket attack. Considering on higher difficulties, they can one-hit kill any given individual. I mean, I was playing a support, got unlucky enough to get hit by all 3 of those rockets while playing on Suicidal, and it actually ruined my day in a single shot. And again, for us who aren't tanks or have a massive amount of health nor the ability to get it back, this can be a big issue. And I find it mostly annoying if I'm not playing as a Berserker, as a support, or as a SWAT. What's amazing about SWAT is the fact that your health... What's good about the SWAT is if you pick the right perks, your armor will absorb 100% damage until it's depleted. And then once it's depleted, you'll start taking health damage. So, that's only one of the only ways I can see surviving that rocket barrage without dodging it fully at a higher difficulty of Suicidal or Hell on Earth.
I'm impressed by your survival instinct out there.
Stuff that.
And on the top of that note, the fact that you can shoot these rockets and a volley of 3 rockets at a time directly at you or over cover to reach you from a distance.
You earn the money.
Or while you're trying to get around certain obstacles, which is a bit of a bummer whenever you think about it, because you can't stand in the line of sight of his minigun since it shreds your armor and health like no one's business. But then the one-hit kill ability right on top of that, I'd just rather go with Slap Happy Hans at that point. I mean, you're going to be dead within 1 to 2 hits anyway.
Hurry up. Zeds are getting closer.
Well, I've
Time's up.
went through the 9 things that I found the most annoying about this game. And I can understand this is complete opinionated because I think a lot differently from everybody else. So bear with me at number 1. If you say number 1 of the most hated things in Killing Floor, it's gotta be, at least for me, sirens.
Now finish the job.
I cannot tell you how much I've been screwed by a siren just being in the area. Oh, the salt that came with this one. The fact that sirens not only destroy grenades unless you have a certain perk for demolitionist, they destroy all explosives in the vicinity of their screech attack. And on top of that, they're not the fastest, so you'll never catch them out in the front unless they were alone and enemies spawn behind them. It just makes for a bad time, and grants immunity for certain weapons against flesh pounds and some of the larger foes like Skrakes whenever you're trying to hit them with rockets or grenades, and they just yell all that away. Or whenever you're trying to throw a healing grenade at your teammate to save their life, and the siren's just there, and she's like, ah, no, I'm not dealing with that nonsense, and then she just screeches away the healing grenade. While it's on the ground, too. I've seen that happen. It's like, already went off on the ground, started its healing animation, she screams, it's gone. And it's like, well, there goes your healing, and you wasted a grenade. I've noticed all these things. Oh, and I have so much more to say. But I think I can condense it completely down to the fact that she's probably single-handedly the reason of half my deaths in Killing Floor, on top of her practical use for the Zed army of being the ultimate in the name of a cock block to anyone who wants to do anything against her teammates.
Cut you down.
There's one right there for the enjoyment of me killing them. The sirens have become such an annoying thing that I've had to deal with that I prioritize them over Scrakes and Flesh Pounds.
Spend wisely. You've got a real fight ahead.
It's just one of those deals that I just do not tolerate a siren. I have an unnatural hatred towards
Glad you
them.
made it back.
I guess it's because they're loud, obnoxious, and ruin my day. Like some people I know.
Hey, there's ammo over here.
Well, I'm not going to get any further into detail with the other side comment, but if you like this top 10, well, one of my only top 10s, I may add, whenever I get better at editing, I will add a whole bunch of stuff in my later videos about these information of top 10s. You know, like they do, where they show text and everything, but I'm getting besides myself. I hope y'all did enjoy this video. Airdrop me that like and comment down below. Comment also on if you agreed or disagreed of my placements in these top 10 things that you hate the most. Did you think Sirens was worthy of being number 1, or would you prefer that Slap Happy Hans being up there over everything else? I don't know. Go ahead and post that down below if you're into sharing your opinion on this as well. It's a group effort. We all must know what grinds our gears and what makes us super salty about the enemies or mechanics in Killing Floor 2. And maybe the developers will end up seeing this and being like, you know what, I can understand why they're salty, and that's how they were designed, or maybe we can fix that for some people. So, without anything else, my name was Hicks, and I am signing off. Have a good one, everyone.
Cut you down a size, pal. He's got away. Hit the bastard.
I'll doppelbach.